Welcome back to the $50 tractor rebuild series. This is part 3. Last I left off, I was trying to get the other motor disassembled. I couldn't do it. The piston was really seized and I couldn't pull off the lower crankcase cover, whatever. So I ended up just getting a new motor. This one is a McCulloch. I think they're made by Husqvarna. I'm not really sure. I got this motor for 200 bucks, brand new. It's like 250 shipped, and it's a 452cc, a 16 horsepower. So it's 2 horsepower less than what was in there, but what was in there didn't run. So we're gonna have the goal of getting that bolted up and in there today. Now the smart thing would have been to measure all the hole distances to one another, but I just saw a $200 motor and said yes, buy. But we're gonna fit this guy over there and see how those holes are. I'm pretty sure they're gonna line up. So right off the bat, it looks like some of the holes, if not all of them, especially on that side, they look usable. And there are certainly covering holes. I'll probably put this on the lift to try to look underneath it to see what's going on. Now, another thing I noticed, the other motor had these wires coming off of it, which went to the stator connection, the ground, the starter, all that stuff. Starter is right here. This wire will just go on right to that starter as well. And this off the rectifier has this style plug. And unfortunately, this didn't come with a manual at all, so I don't really know the pinout of anything, what anything's supposed to go to, nor do I really know what's going on with this. However, I did notice that these plugs do fit right into one another, and you've got your 3 connections on the top and one over here on the bottom right, and that seems to be the exact way this plug is wired. Now, the proper way to do that would be to put a voltmeter on there and find the schematics and everything, but it looks plug and play, so that's what I'm going to do anyhow. So one of the things I just noticed is these holes don't have any threads in them, and it's not like you can just sink a bolt through and then tighten it down. You might be able to on this side, but over here these are covered up over here. So I think what I'm going to have to do is run a tap in there and then go and get some appropriate hardware. Fortunately, I have this pretty sweet tap and die kit from Harbor Freight. It looks like this is going to take about a M10 by 125 or M10 by 150. Be a little bit of a tight squeeze, but we're going to try to get some threads cut into this thing. So we're going to put a little WD-40 in this there cutting hole. That's going to be annoying with that shaft there, but we're going to do what we can with what we got. Ideally, you want these to be as even as possible, and unfortunately I don't really have a surface where I can tell if this is going in perfectly evenly, and I'm also just kind of being lazy, but I have a feeling it'll work. After what took way more time than I'm willing to admit, all 4 holes are finally cut with all M10 by 125 threads. All look pretty darn even. And now it's time to go run to the store, grab some hardware, and maybe some fuel lines too. Alright, after a quick trip to the hardware store, that being Lowe's, I picked up some bolts for this thing. I'm gonna pop them in soon. And as I just popped this guy in, I was looking at the throttle linkage. A little easier than I thought it would be. So this guy here goes like right to the carburetor and the throttle body, or whatever you want to call it. And I just have to get this guy, which is on the tractor already, popped in there. So what I'm going to do is probably have the cable go into the clamp kind of where it's designed to do so, and then route this through here, trying to take off this old / factory unit right there. And then that will set the throttle. The wiring I still have to work out. Took the gas tank off, cleaned it a little bit, got some new fuel hose, so I'll pop that on. If I'm lucky, which I never am, the wiring hopefully will be right. I really should test it. That's not what this channel does. So, plus it's a lot more fun to blow things up at my expense for you guys. That's not fun for me. Let's see how it works. So I have opted to go with the lift route just to save my back a little bit. While I'm over on this side, I'm going to try to disconnect this plug here and plug it in wherever the plug went for here. I probably put it on top of here, which would not be... Oh no, here it is. Good. I knew it. I knew exactly where I had it the whole time. So hopefully this doesn't blow the rectum fryer once I plug this in and then go to start it, because that would suck. But it would make for some good content. Alright, now that the motor's all bolted into place, I've been messing around with the throttle linkage. And I really don't have much of a clue of what I'm doing. But at first I hooked it up to this guy, which turns out to just be the choke. And this guy turns out to be the throttle itself. So I've got the throttle cable coming off this piece of deal right here, and it's going onto that little piece of deal grabber, which goes to here. And I bent this rod taking it off because I really thought this was useless, but apparently it's not. That's for the choke. I think that's supposed to click into here or something. I don't know, I'll have to look at it before. But other than that, I could just manually choke it for now, which isn't ideal. However, the throttle does work, so that's good. So next we're going to bolt this all back up, forget about the choke for now, put the fuel system back in, and then wire the battery up and see what happens. Got a new battery here, and I'm going to connect the terminals together on the battery, and then just turn the key to see if even the headlights come on. Make sure I didn't destroy anything when I was taking this apart. And then I also have to run out and get some more fuel line because it's a little short, but I might put a little gas in there and see if it'll start. It's going to be loud since I don't have an exhaust system for this thing just yet. I've got the muffler from the old one somewhere over there that I'm going to have to make fit here, which will be a little bit of a challenge, but with Stowe's drill press and my welder combined, there's nothing we can't create in this garage. Alright, battery is hooked up just finger tight. Give this key a quick little turn. We have lights. This is the first time I've ever seen lights on this tractor, because it didn't come with a battery. Now, will we get a start bump or smoke? Nothing. Maybe there's another secret sequence of events that have to take place in order for this thing to start. I've got the voltmeter working here. Yeah, I don't really know. I have to look into what it takes to start one of these. Maybe the starter fuse is blown. There is a fuse hanging out down there. Right here. It probably would be where the multimeter would come in handy. So I did a quick little fuse test, and by which I just pulled the fuse. It's very cracked, so I got to replace it, but the fuse is okay. Well, there you go. I'll tell you how I got that to happen, but I took the fuse out and tried to turn the lights on, nothing happened, so that means the fuse is fine. But since I know nothing about tractors, I think this is the blade lowering switch or something, the blade engagement. I've got to figure that out, or if someone in the comments wants to tell me what these signs are for. But it would not start with the into the blade spinny looking thing, because there's a switch here, which when that rests on there, it allows you to crank it, which we're going to try now. Alright, so it cranks. We're going to add a little bit of gas to the tank and see if she'll fire. It'll be loud though, without exhaust. Before anyone asks, I did check the oil. This does have oil in it. Very, very, very clean oil. Cleanest I've ever seen, because I've never had a new motor. So, we're going to give it a little bit of gas now. I'm pretty happy with that. That started up no problem at all. Wow. And yeah, so it definitely needs an exhaust. There's that, as I thought. And what I also have to do here on the starter is I got to get another M6 nut here. Just because you want this starter cable thing kind of in the middle here so you don't accidentally ground out to the starter, have a short, a fire, and so on and so forth. But this works. The amp meters were very high, so I gotta make sure that this regulator is working and that actually is wired correctly, because I don't want to blow out something. But again, if it's for the views, it's got to be done. So now, yeah, it's got to fit an exhaust to it, fit the drive belt system on there. I ordered some new parts, some new bearings, and blades, and a new belt, new pulleys for this whole cutting deck, just because if I'm going through all the trouble to put a new motor on there, might as well have a nice cutting deck. And you can see, been waiting over here, I guess, for this mower to be done, because there be some tall grass there. Spring has finally sprung, even though it's right now, I think, in the upper 40s or lower 50s. It's pretty cold out and raining. But hopefully by this time next week, we'll be cutting the grass on the tractor. Or maybe even sooner if the neighborhood calls the police. Well, I'm happy to say the swap is pretty much done. I'm just going to tuck this fuel line neatly away and out of things. Figure out if there's a way I can get this choke to like auto choke. I don't know, but see if I could rig something up. Fuel tank's back on. Everything's now bolted down where it should be. Everything but the exhaust. Got the other nut for this. Hopefully that'll come through. It's pretty dark over here. So I got that sorted. I just have to put some zip ties on some of the wiring. This was part of the old wiring to the motor. And yeah, that's really it. I've got to put the pulley on there for the drive belt and for the cutting deck. So that'll be in the next video, as well as taking it for a test drive and rebuilding that mower deck over there as well. I was definitely ahead of schedule. I didn't really think I was going to get this thing going just like that. Very, very straightforward and pretty easy to do overall. And yeah, for a $200 motor, it was like originally $300. I had it sitting on my eBay wish or watch list for like I don't know, a couple weeks. I was thinking about it, and then all of a sudden I get notification the seller had decided to drop the price by 99 bucks, and I was like, yes, yeah, 200 bucks. I'm buying it. That's pretty good. 16 horse. Original was 18, but yeah, it also didn't run. So that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you come back next week. I'm going to have the cutting deck thing and actually give this thing a proper test drive. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like make sure to hit the like button if you liked it. Subscribe, share it with a friend if it might be helpful for them. Share it to your tractor community. Share it to farmers only, whatever you got to do. And remember, as always, keep it foul.